Hello and welcome to today's video, where I will teach you how to use a RecyclerView in Android Studio through a simple example that I try to keep as easy and straightforward as I can. So let's see what we'll actually build today. This will be the application. It will have a title and a list of numbers. These are some randomly generated numbers. We'll have 50 of them. And the special thing is the way we display. Instead of having 50 views, just a huge list of items created and kept in memory to slow our phone or to limit the resources available for other functions, we will just have a recycler view. And the recycler view will just create the views which are displayed on the screen. And this blue rectangle, imagine this is your mobile phone's screen, the viewing area. And then next to the items which are displayed, there are several more that have just been displayed or waiting to be displayed. As you scroll down, the next item is ready for you to see, and the previous one, which you don't see anymore, as you scroll down, will be recycled. So it will be taken, the information deleted from inside and reloaded with a different information and displayed. In this way, you have a limited number of views created, so your memory is used more efficiently, and your phone will run overall better. So this is the theory. Let's go in Android Studio and see the code and see in a practical example how we do it. You will start by opening Android Studio and you will create a new project. This will be a phone and tablet project, empty activity, as we always do. Change as you please, everything here except for the Java programming language, and then click Finish. Let's wait for the project to load. Now we can start working on the user interface, and for this we go to the activity main XML file. Here we have the usual text view with hello world. So we'll just clear the constraints, we'll move this to the top, and we'll just change some of its attributes. So instead of hello world, this will say RecyclerView example. The text will be aligned in the center. We'll give it a color. Let's make it blue. And for the size, we'll give it something large, like 34. And I think this should be good. Actually, this is a bit too large. Let's make it only 30. All right, so this is everything that we need. Let's set some constraints for this text view. We'll just constrain it horizontally and vertically only to the top of the screen. We will take the constraint layout, and then we will search for margins. We'll give it a 16 dp margin. All right. And then what we need to do, we need to bring a recycler view. So we drag and drop it into our project. And what I usually do, I just make sure I have all the constraints set. So with the recycler view selected, I constrain it horizontally and then vertically. Now I change the recycler's view size, and I'll just make it match its constraints, with the only exception in the top where I'll just give it a 16 dp margin. Okay, so this is where our elements will be displayed, and this is our user interface. However, there is one more thing that we need to do. For the recycler view, let's give it an ID. And the ID, let's say, main recycler view. And our next step will be to create a new layout file so we can specify the way our list will look. So each item of the recycler view has to look in a certain way. And for this, we need to define a layout resource. We open the resource or RAS folder, then the layout one. And here you now have only the activity main XML file, but you right click on the folder and then you create a new layout resource file. And here we'll only have a text view. So let's just type as root element the text view. We select it and we'll give it a name and we'll say RecyclerView item. Okay, let's set up this RecyclerView item. As you can see, it's only a text view. We'll give it a ID. This will be RV RecyclerView text view. And what I need to do, let's give it for now some text. This will be random numbers. Don't worry about this text. This will be modified when we run the application. So this is, if you want, just a placeholder for now. And we'll put it in the center. We'll give it, let me give it a size first so you can see it better. So we give it a size. We'll give it a color. We'll make it a light green cyan or whatever the name of this color is. And I guess we can make it a bold as well. Okay, so this is how our numbers will look like. The only thing not to forget is to set the height, because we don't want this item to take the entire space available on the screen. So the height will be wrap content. And I believe this should be everything. Okay, let us save it. And now we can go to the main activity Java file. Inside the main activity Java file, we have to declare some of the variables we'll be working with. What I've done until this point, so I've declared the string array, so our array list with strings, and this will hold our random numbers. These random numbers, we'll put about 50 of them, will be used by the adapter to populate the recycler view, and this is the recycler view. And our recycler view will be this one, the big one that will hold the placeholder that if you want for the numbers. And then you have this random number, and this is a Java class, and we'll use this to randomly generate some numbers. This is just to simulate some content for our list. Going inside the onCreate method now. Till this point, we have associated the recycler view, the one, as I showed you before, this big one, we have just associated with our variable here. So we used findViewById for that. This is the main recycler view in the user interface, and this is our variable. Then we have our random numbers, and this is the array list. And then we have find a generate random number method. However, this is not yet implemented. So we can just click on it. And then here on the little red light bulb, create method. Okay, so this is generated automatically for us, and we'll just put the content inside. And this is how we will create the random list of numbers. Increasing the size a bit so you can better see what I've done here. So I've taken the generate random numbers method, so the one that we invoke here, and we only have this random number. So we have this one over here. And then I said 50 items. So for each of the 50 items that we will insert in our list, we have our random numbers. So that array will add the string value of whatever we generate. And this is how it works. This generates an integer value that will be between 0 and 8999. So this is the upper part of the interval. And because we want all the numbers to be 4 digits long, we just add 1000. This way, if we have number 1 or 2 or 3 plus 1000, it will make it a 4-digit. And if we have 8999 plus 1000, it will stay to the upper limit of 9999. So we don't go into 5-digit numbers. This is just a very basic, very simple way to generate some numbers so we can fill the list with 50 elements. The point of the recycler view, as you know, is to recycle the views that we use so we don't overload the memory. So instead of having list view with 50 elements, we'll just have the elements visible on the screen, and then the others will be generated, the views will be generated as we scroll. And this is why I took a list with a lot of elements, with 50 elements, instead of having only 1 or 2 or 3, where we can simply use a list view. Okay, but coming back to our code, this is what we'll do next. We will have to create our recycler adapter. And for this, we go to project, we go to the app, Java, package folder, and then we right click. We say new Java class, and we'll give it a name. Let's call it recycler adapter. What we have to do here, we have to extend this class. We'll begin by saying extends RecyclerView dot adapter, and we'll just say here as you can see, we have this huge red underlining. So if we click and then we see, I'll just increase again the size a bit. Okay, so it's going to be easier for you to see. So we click here, we have the red light bulb, and we say just implement methods, because we have to implement the onCreate view holder, the bind view holder, and the get item count. So we just click and it's automatically generated. However, we'll need to modify it in a moment. It is a bit intimidating, but don't worry, we'll go step by step, and before you know it, the example will be running perfectly. Okay, so going to the upper part of the class, we will declare a private array list. And this will be a string again, we'll work with strings. And we'll just right click on this one. We have a problem here, we have to include the proper class. Now, when we generate an instance of this recycler adapter, we need to pass it a list of the numbers, so the list of elements that it will be working with. So let's create a constructor. So we'll just click here underneath this array list. We right click, we'll say generate, and we'll say constructor. And we click OK. So now we have a public recycler adapter, and you have the constructor generated. As you can see, we have this red highlighted text over here. The problem is that we need to create a class, and this will be my view holder. And this is what we'll do right now. I'm just going to write the code, and then I will explain what it does. So I started so far by writing this class, and make sure you always make it static, and it will extend the RecyclerView view holder. Also, I've declared this text view, and you can think about this class as the onCreate method somehow. So this is where we will reference the views, and we of course have to click here and create a constructor, because this is the problem why it's highlighted in red. So this will have also its constructor, and inside here, the text view that we have declared above, this one will be equal to item view, and then we'll find it by ID. And here it is. And that's all we do right here. We just reference the text view, and we will change its content a bit later. Moving to the other methods, we have the onCreate view holder, and this is where we inflate our view, actually where we pass the layout that we have created, this RecyclerView item layout. And the way to do it is something like this. First, we have to create a new view, to declare a new view. So what we have done until this point, we have this new view, and this new view will be a layout inflator from the parent where we get the context. We will inflate, and how we will do that? We will use this layout resource file as template, and this is the one that we have designed or created here. And moving on to the right, this will be associated to the parent, but not attached to the root. So this is how, because this is what we receive as parameter, the parent and the view type. And then before exiting, we return this, a new instance of this my view holder. Moving to the next method, this will be the onBind view holder. And this is where we change the text in our text view, so it will say whatever it needs to say based on the current position. So as we scroll the list and we have different numbers coming, we need taking into account those positions to update the contents of the views. And this is how we will do it. As I said before, we have this string that will contain the current number, and from our random number list, we'll get the position that we are at, and the holder inside, so the current holder inside the text view will complete or will add the number that is on this position. And lastly, we have the get item count. This only needs to return our random number size. Okay, so how many items we have, how many numbers we have. We can save everything. So this takes care of the adapter, the recycler adapter. Now we have to go back to the main activity and do the following. Having created a new adapter, let's just use it. So we have the recycler adapter. This is capital R. So we have the recycler adapter, this class over here. And then we'll say our list adapter. This is the name that we'll give our adapter, and it will be a new recycler adapter. And of course, if you remember, we have to pass as parameter for the constructor. We already have this problem, the list of numbers that will be used by the constructor, by the adapter. So we'll pass as parameter our random numbers. Next, we need to select a layout manager, and for this we say RecyclerView dot layout manager, and we'll say our layout manager. This will be a new linear layout manager in the current application context. So our recycler view will set as you can see, we have used our recycler view to set our layout manager, the item animator, and the adapter. And each of these are the ones that we have defined above. So our layout manager, and this is our list adapter. Saving everything, we can now test the app and see how it runs. The application is now running, and as you can see, we have the list of numbers. This is the list of random numbers, and it's quite a long list, 50 elements in total, 50 items. I can zoom in a bit. The point is that we are using a recycler view, so we only have as many views as we have displayed on the screen, and the rest are generated as we scroll up or down. And this will be more efficient from a memory point of view. And it is a bit more difficult to implement or to code when compared to a simple list view. However, for large applications, if, for example, you have some database where you constantly add new information and then you want to display that information on the screen, this is the way to go. Imagine you have an application that will display the news or, I don't know, the exchange rate, and you want to have a history of all the exchange rates in the last several years, then you can't have a list view for that. You need a recycler view, because otherwise you will have huge list of information that will just collapse your application and it will make it not able to run. But I hope you have learned something new today. If you have comments, suggestions, questions, please be free to write in the comment section below. If not, until we meet in the next video, keep practicing, keep learning, and take care. Have a good day.